Hey guys, welcome to Ito Automotive and the fabrication instructions for the 2003 through 2011 ashtray to phone tray conversion fabrication instructions. So what you're seeing in front of you is a converted ashtray. And what you're going to see when you take your ashtray module out of your Lincoln Town Car. So we're going to go from this, and let me remove this one. This one hasn't been actually glued or taped into place, but we're going to go from this to this in a few simple steps. So with that, let's get started. Figure I'd give you a real quick demonstration of removing the tray as well as seeing the cable management on my particular setup. So you can see here I have the double DIN Sony head unit, which has got Apple CarPlay, and I'm dropping a cable from it down into the modified ashtray with the phone tray in it. So you can see the setup I have is with the wireless charging puck, and then this is the cable that goes to the head unit. I have the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and the phone width or the phone height plus the length of the cable with the standard lightning cable is too wide for the tray. So I had to find this 90-degree lightning cable that gives me the width so I can plug my phone in, plus everything laid down within the tray as it should, and I can close the actual tray back up. So to remove the tray, I mentioned there's a couple of tabs back here in the corner. You just push those down, you kind of work the tray back and forth, and the whole tray comes out. If I flip this over, you'll see a couple of the wiring management here. Here's the power, the harness that goes to the power adapter plugged back in. You can see up here, I've got the cable going up to the head unit and the harness kind of cable tied off here to the corner. Here's the wireless charging puck. I've got that cable kind of wrapped around the holder for the actual cigarette lighter adapter. And here's the cable that's got the 90-degree lightning connector to it here, coming up to the actual phone tray. So this is kind of what the setup looks like after you build the kit, put it all together, get all your cables and cords put back in. This is what it looks like before you would install it. And then from a reinstallation standpoint, again, you would just find the channels up here in the two corners, take the two tabs here, slide it into those channels, push the little tabs down again, kind of work it back and forth, and you're reinstalled. So pretty straightforward. If you've got any questions, let us know. All right, first step to take is to remove this from your town car. There's a couple of things that you have to do. One is when you pull this out of the car, there's a couple of release tabs here on the back. You're gonna push those down and then pretty aggressively, and then you're going to pull this forward and the unit will come out. You'll then have a connector here on the back of the cigarette lighter power connector here on the back, so you're going to remove that. And then typically the harness might be connected here, so you'll have to take the harness off here as well. So once you remove that out of the car, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to remove these couple of these trays, which just pop out from pushing from the bottom, and then we end up with this. Take your cigarette lighter out and put it to the side, and we're ready to start cutting. And there's a couple of things that we're going to do. Really, if you look at these side by side, you can see we're going to notch this in the back, and then we're going to notch here in the front. And we're going to effectively remove this center section. And to cut it out, you also have to cut kind of here on the back. You can see this line here matches up to this line here. So a couple of cuts to do that, and but pretty straightforward. You can use a variety of tools. In this video, I'm going to be using a rotary tool. I think the rotary tool just gives you the most amount of control to get it out relatively easily. So we're going to go and cut it out of this one, and I'll give you that demonstration. All right. So here I'm using my Ryobi rotary tool. And the way I like to approach cutting this out is to notch the back first, and then kind of get that cut down here. So kind of a cut here, and then a cut down here, and then work a way across the back here through the back. Kind of cut that, and then cut the front notch as well. The goal is to leave this lip all the way around, except for these two areas, is what we're looking for at the end. So we'll turn this on and start cutting. All right. One area that you want to be careful of is here on this front edge. If you go too deep, especially with the rotary tool, you can actually cut through the base, and we don't want to do that. If you use a rotary tool, you're going to have a little bit of cleanup here with some burrs. Best thing to do to get those off is to use a file. So I'm going to go get that file and clean a little bit up and go from there. All right, just got a kind of a hand file here. And with this, kind of work your way around and just clean up the edges. Most of these edges aren't going to be seen in the final product. Really, the only critical area to get the edges cleaned up are just right around this lip, this edge that works its way all the way around, because the tray will actually sit on that area. So in a couple of these corners, you just want to make sure that's cleaned up. The area here in front, certainly want to clean this up just because it could create an interference for the tray to sit down on top of it. But as you can see, most of these burrs just come out very easily when you scrape them. Yeah, and just clean that up as best you can. The next step is to remove the cigarette lighter adapter module from the centerpiece of plastic that we cut out. To do this, just a couple pieces of plastic need to be removed. This is actually a light bulb that's here on the side. You can just pop that off. All right, grabbed a couple of extra tools here to help get this out. That just allows me to kind of break through this plastic. See, I've kind of worked the edge in the front. Almost got it out. We just need to break those tabs off. So let me get a pair of pliers and we'll snap those off. Get back with a pair of pliers. Just gonna grab this plastic and break those little tabs off so we can slide that through the mounting hole. And there we go. All right, once you've gotten the cigarette lighter adapter out. There's 2 tabs on either side. These are the same couple of tabs I was working on to get it out through the front. You can get a screwdriver and anything under there, and we want to effectively break those off. So you can bend them back. You can see I'm bending this one back. That one's bent out of the way. Go the one on the opposite side. Once you have that off, you can grab this end. Our goal is to break this plastic in half, so we can take it off. I'm now working the top edge of the plastic off, and now I've got it split in half. So now we can grab a hold of this. You can see we can now slide it off. So it's just a matter of breaking through this where this small tab is, breaking the bottom part, breaking the top part, and now we've separated it. When you receive your kit, built into the bottom of it is a receiver for this actual adapter. The next step in assembling this is that you're going to take this and make sure that you're installing it the correct way. So if you remember correctly, when this was installed in the car, the hole was pointing forward, the connector was in the back. So you want the same alignment. So the way that you would install this is that you would push it through the hole from the front in this direction. So start it there. You want, again, this is the front of the tray, the long side, the short side is the back. You want the connector in the back. So you would push this through the hole. It's going to encounter a little bit of resistance, which you want. So you just kind of work it back and forth, and then it'll snap in place, and now it's held in place. And then we can actually install it back in the tray just to test fit again. So start with the back part and kind of drop it in underneath. And we are now installed here. And you can see now the connector is in the back. So when you go to install this back in the car, you're going to reconnect that connector here. And then you would run your cords. Actually, from an installation standpoint, you would hook your cords in, or let's say your USB power adapter, run it through in here, take the cords, wind them around, come in through the back, come in through the bottom. This is the tray that's designed for your wireless charging puck. So you can just drop your phone and it'll charge directly in here. So it's meant to come in through the bottom. And it's got some kind of cable management, little connector here. On the back, you can see there's a couple of connectors to bring cables in through the back if you want. So you have a couple of connectors. Or if you're running, like in my vehicle, my town car, I have Apple CarPlay. So I have a cable coming through here that goes up to the double DIN receiver above it for Apple CarPlay. And then I also have a second one that's coming here for the power adapter. Both will charge the phone, but for just different applications. So you'd install your USB power plug, take your cables, wrap them around to manage the cables, come back through the bottom, and then you would actually install that into the car. Next up, let me clean up the workspace here. Then I'll show you kind of the final step, which is to take the 4 pieces of VHB tape, and slide them into the 4 slots here on the side, so we can permanently mount this so it's in the car. All right, so included with the kit are 4 pieces of very small VHB tape. VHB is a very aggressive adhesive tape. It's the type of tape that is used to attach car emblems on the outside of cars. So once that tape sets up, it's very strong. On the actual tray, it's kind of hard to see visually, but there's 4 little slots. There's 2 slots on each side, which shows you where to put this VHB tape. A couple of the pieces may have rounded corners. So when you're installing these, you'll want to put the rounded corners towards the outside. So the way you would install this, if you can see that, is you would push that up against there. And the red is actually a protective cover, so we'll remove that before we put on. You can actually see the VHB tape is more of a gray. So we'll position these 4 pieces of tape, get those stuck down. When you're looking at the tape from the top side, you may actually see a little bit of the tape, and that's fine. It will actually round into the corners here where it's going to affix to the actual tray that we've modified, the ashtray. Now, probably the hardest part of installing the VHB tape, quite honestly, is getting this red backer material off. It is pretty thick, and it's there to really protect the tape. So you're gonna have to kind of take your time, use the edge of your fingernail, and once you get it going, it will start to come off. I found that once it kind of gets going, you can grab it and you can peel it off. It's not every piece comes off as easy as the next piece. So it may take a little bit of patience, but just take your time, go slow. Try to just grab the edge and not the actual tape itself. So you can see how quickly that goes. I've had a little bit of practice over the years using this stuff. But again, kind of start in the corner. Use your fingernail to kind of get underneath it. Go slow. See, this one's giving me a little bit of trouble. It's wanting to pull the tape up itself. VHB tape sets or gets about 90% of its strength in about 24 hours. Now, the warmer the environment is, as the tape sets up, the faster that is. So it can set up in just a few hours if it's really, really hot. If it's really, really cold, it can take, a couple days. We're obviously, really this tape is here just to ensure that the tray doesn't come out of the car, or it's not vibrating a lot. So now that we've got all of our backer off, we want to just make sure that we don't have any significant dirt or dust. You can certainly clean this with alcohol to make sure that we don't have any grease on it. And then when setting this, you kind of have to be careful. Again, you're wanting to go from the back of the tray back. And the best thing to do is effectively set this back edge. So if you follow this edge and this edge against the back edge, and kind of the corner to the corner, and then if you reach underneath, you can kind of slowly drop the tray in place. It may want to connect on that front end. You can see that it kind of dropped. I kind of kept it from going down. And this is, again, you can kind of see the VHB tape there on the edge, and then it kind of rounds down and connects. And what you want to do is just put pressure on either side for a good 30 seconds to a minute to make sure that really gets kind of started and being set in place. Again, it's just to make sure that this isn't rattling and this tray's not vibrating against the actual plastic. So again, hold this in place for a good 30 seconds to a minute, hold that pressure down, and then you're ready to really install it back in the car. Again, to do that, you would plug in your power connector. You've got all your cables that you're feeding through. So if you have that cable going to your head unit, you would slide it back through the corner here, you know, kind of pull that in there, kind of push these tabs down, slide it back into the channels, and you are fully installed. Really appreciate y'all's support. If you have any questions, certainly reach out to me through the website and through the contact form. But again, appreciate it. Have a great day. Take care.